Long time ago, the country Ang was ruled by King Shvetaketu. He had a minister whose name was Subuddhi, someone who possesses good understanding. But his deeds were not in accordance with the meaning of his name. He was always engaged in bad deeds, and he was known for oppressing people in the name of justice. The stories of his villainy had reached the ears of the king also, but the king had not revealed the fact that he had become aware of his misconducts. In fact, King Shvetaketu was secretly in search of a suitable person who could replace Subuddhi and become his minister. After a long search, the king was informed that there was a boy named Arun in a nearby village. He was very intelligent and capable and ran an educational institution. The king sent a letter to Arun through his soldier in which he had wished to see him. Arun was greatly surprised to know the contents of the letter. He immediately set out to meet the king. When the king explained to him the purpose of his invitation, Arun said, "My lord, I have no interest in politics. Running an educational institution brings me a great deal of satisfaction. Since I could not write you back, it became necessary for me to come and see you personally and explain to you my helplessness. I beg an apology for declining your offer, because I am aware that I don't deserve the post of a minister." King Shvetaketu was greatly impressed by the truthfulness of Arun. He said, "I need people like you who have no greed of any kind, neither for money nor for status. My minister Subuddhi has become corrupt. All he needs is money. He has no consideration for the betterment of my subjects. I want to divest him of his charge, and you will have to agree to join as my minister in favor of the subjects of this country. Not only that, I am thinking of divesting Subuddhi of his charge. I am also determined to remove those officials who are hand in glove with Subuddhi and are not doing their jobs dutifully. But this has got to be done very carefully. And so far as running your educational institution is concerned, I shall make suitable arrangements for it." It became clear to Arun that in a way it was an order given by the king, so he could not decline his offer. He accepted the proposal of the king and was appointed with immediate effect. From the very next day, Arun began performing as minister. Appointing Arun as minister was divesting Subuddhi of his charge was also all of a sudden that none could know about it. Even Subuddhi came to know about it only when he was asked to leave the chair. Arun, as soon as he took over a charge as minister, started his proceedings with Subuddhi. He got a long list of his crimes made and called for an explanation from him. Subuddhi was already perplexed, and he failed to give a befitting reply. He held the officers responsible for all the crimes. He said, "Of course, I have made mistakes in running the administration, but I am blameless. In fact, I had very few and important things in my hand. Rest of the things were looked after by these officers only." The number of trusted officers of Subuddhi was around 100. He asked each and every officer, and they replied in unison that they only carried out the orders of the minister. They themselves were not to be blamed for anything. "This would mean that none of you is involved in these crimes," said Arun, continuing his inquiry. "All right. Can you give any proof in support of your statement?" "Not one. We have many, said one of the officers. Now this is the right time when we must betray the secret. Given a chance, we shall bring hundreds of proofs. All right, we shall meet tomorrow. Meanwhile, I have to do some other things also, said Arun, and asked the officers to return. Now Arun took Subuddhi with himself and went to the king. He said, My lord, the fault of Subuddhi is that he only passed on orders to his officers. He never tried to win their affection. And as soon as he was removed from the post of minister, these officers went against him. Then, in that case, what punishment should be inflicted upon him? The king wanted to know. I have not yet been able to decide about it. I shall let you know tomorrow, was a brief reply from Arun. The king was eager to see how Arun would handle the officers. He decided that he too would remain at the court with Arun all the time of the inquiry. The proceeding began on the next day again. The king was also present at the court with his new minister, Arun. The officers were being called for inquiry one by one. Arun said to the first officer brought before him, Tell me everything in detail that you know about the minister. The officer opened before him a long list of vices of the minister. Then Arun signaled to him to stop and said, All right, these are all his vices. Now please tell me something about his virtues also. The officer became silent. He could not speak a single word about it. The virtues of the minister. Then Arun signaled to him to go out. Now it was the turn of other officers. They too came and spoke, whatever little they knew about the minister. There were only 10 officers who could speak about the virtues of Subuddhi. After all the officers left, Arun said to the king, My lord, we have to retain only those 10 officers who spoke about the virtues also of Subuddhi. In other words, we shall have to remove the remaining 90 officers, and so far as Subuddhi is concerned, he should be appointed as jailer in chief. The decision taken by Arun was extraordinary. The king was also surprised. He said, What kind of decision are you taking? Instead of removing Subuddhi, who was a criminal attitude, you are giving him a responsible post. And above all, you want to retain these 10 officers who sang in praise of him? This is no justice. Hearing the king speak, thus Arun laughed and said, I admit that Subuddhi was charged with corruption, but at the same time we must admit that he exercised complete control over his officers. They could not speak a single word against him so long as he was in power. And this kind of control needs special capability. It is not possible for everyone. My lord, I am sure you will agree with me that keeping criminals under control needs a very kind of capability, and this precisely is the reason why I have recommended to appoint him as the jailer in chief. Secondly, this kind of job will compel Subuddhi to pass most of his time with criminals only. This in itself is a punishment. Yes, so far as the question of removal of these 90 officers is concerned, I still maintain that they have got to be removed because those who are in a habit of finding faults with others can never be expected to do good to anyone. I must commend your decision, spoke the king in praise of Arun. You are greater than what I had estimated. Now I am confident that there cannot be anyone better than you for the post of my minister. Truly, Arun had freed King Shvetaketu from all his worries. All his decisions used to be marvelous. Within a very short period of time, there was nothing like corruption left in the kingdom of King Shvetaketu. There was peace all around. Strange Justice. This story is read from 44 Fantasy Stories, Selected stories of courage, valor, wisdom, and moral values from Manoj Publications. Shri Krishna Arpanamastu. Hare Rama,